All right, welcome to our first official video for this financial YouTube channel. My name is Brennan Urenda, and today I'm going to be tackling how to become financially stable. Now, in this economy, I know hearing that term, like, it almost seems impossible for a lot of people, because financially stable feels like you have to get rich to become financially stable. And depending on what your definition of rich is, maybe that is, what it is. But I truly believe that you can become financially stable without having to, be a multi-millionaire or do all these crazy businesses and all this stuff. And before we go forward with this video, I want you all to know that I'm not a financial advisor. I am also on my journey to becoming financially stable. So don't think that I have all the keys to all the doors. This is going to be, like I said in the introduction video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. This is going to be a journey for all of us. And so whether you're, in the same position as me, you're getting your first job, or not first, but you're getting a job that you're going to be consistent with for a year, 2 years, possibly. You're trying to save up as much money as you can. You're building your emergency fund, all this stuff, which we're going to get into in a little bit. Then this video is going to help. We're going to go through 3 tiers of financial stability. And while we're going through this, just make sure you know to do your own research. Now let's go ahead and get into that. All right, let's go ahead and start with the financial tier list I have of your journey to financial stability. I do have these written down on my computer, so if I look over to the side to read, I apologize. So let's go ahead and start with this first financial tier list. All right, tier 1. The baseline for this is going to be having no debt, a small emergency fund, and a stable job that pays the bills. Now, this is baseline, and obviously if you're not here, then that's what you need to get to, as soon as possible. Okay, no debt. At this point, the only debt you should have is either consumer debt, or obviously student loan debt. And if you do have a lot of student loan debt, I'm not saying you need to get rid of it all at this tier 1. That would definitely be nice, but obviously not everybody has that luxury. I was lucky enough to have academic scholarships and stuff like that to get through junior college. I'm not sure what that'll look like while I'm trying to get my bachelor's, but we're getting there. All right. So mainly for the no debt, I mainly mean at least in this tier 1, I mainly mean just consumer debt. And I personally had trouble with this when I first started out. I'm sure a lot of other people do as well. But it's really just only using that credit card when you need to, and 2, if you are going to either immediately pay it off or pay it off in full at the end of the month. Now let's go to this small emergency fund. This is going to be something you really need to pay attention to, because I know saving up for, investments and all this other cool stuff that you could get is going to be something you think you want to prioritize. However, a small emergency fund goes a long way, okay? And I think to start out, a $1,000 small emergency fund is good enough, especially when you're young. It just helps take care of anything bad that can happen when you're young, maybe you have to go to a doctor visit and you have to get these things and you don't have health insurance to cover it. $1,000 insurance or $1,000 emergency fund could go a long way. Maybe maybe your car needs a spare tire or something. Bam, you have that $1,000 emergency fund. Obviously at this tier, we're just building it up. Okay, so don't expect to have all of it all right now. And then obviously a stable job that pays the bills. Even if it's just a retail associate job like I have right now, just to get something that can help pay the bills, whether it's your rent, food, all that stuff, something that can just pay the bills right here, right now. All right, now that we talked about tier 1, we're gonna go to tier 2. Same thing applies with the debt wise. You want to have no debt. You don't want to have to constantly stress about your consumer debt. Student loan debts, obviously if you're paying it and doing your best, that's all that matters. But trying to get that out the door as quick as possible is the best for you, okay? And then in tier 2, we upgrade from just starting your emergency fund to having a well-funded emergency fund, okay? Now, this obviously doesn't have to be like crazy, be able to protect you from anything. That's what we'll get to in tier 3. But it should be getting, that starting your emergency fund in tier 1. Maybe your goal is to get to that 1,000. You should have that at this tier at least. Anywhere from 1,000 to like 2,000 max, I believe, should be good enough as an emergency fund, depending on what emergencies you're thinking of trying to take care of right now. Because at this point, you most likely don't have a house still. You most likely are doing rent, so you don't gotta worry about emergency fund as in like house damages and stuff like that. Your main priority for this emergency fund is most likely going to be transportation costs, like maybe your car breaks down, like I mentioned before, and then hospital costs, and making sure you have an insurance plan would definitely help. But if not, having this emergency fund will be very useful. And then we upgrade our stable job that pays the bills. Obviously, we want to still have that, but you can start adding either little tiny other lines of profit, like a hobby, like a hobby like selling shoes or something, or like reselling all this stuff, lawn mowing, whatever it is. Or you can start job hopping and going and raising that pay that you've been getting. Like, say for example, you're starting at minimum wage, so here in Arizona that's going to be $14.35 an hour. You want to stay with that job as long as you can, because that's how you get pay raises. But if you find a job that's one more convenient and also has that pay raise, like even if it's $1 more or like 50 cents more, whatever it is, it's okay to job hop, go over there, get that pay, and then hopefully, as you've been budgeting in your tier 1, it gives you even more cash in that you can start using to start a savings account. All right, so we've gone over tier 1, we've gone over tier 2. Now tier 3 is the dream, okay? I'm gonna read it off to you in a second, but tier 3 is where you really want to be at financially, and I would consider this financially stable, and for a couple of reasons, which we'll get to in a second. But if this isn't, like, when I read this out, if this isn't the dream that you're chasing for, then it should be. If you're unless you're already there, then obviously you can have bigger and better dreams, but this is the one dream you should try and get to as of right now in this economy. You should be trying to get here, okay? So no consumer debt, no student loan debt, like no debt at all, unless it's like for a business, for example, for something that you're manipulating the interest rate, which I can get into in another video. But yeah, this one is going to be just no debt, okay? Aim for that, okay? A well-funded emergency fund. We want this emergency fund to be impenetrable, like it can cover pretty much any emergency that you have. Obviously that amount varies, but once you hit that certain amount, leave it there. It's always there just in case you need it. A stable job that pays the bills. Okay, we're still going from the main one with the very first tier 1. It's gonna pay the bills. It's gonna, hopefully at this point, you're getting benefits. You're getting a job that's maybe it's a corporate job. Maybe it's something that you're gonna be at for a while. So you might as well be getting benefits for it. It might as well be full time, unless you have other businesses and side gigs, which by all means you don't need a job with benefits. if you're making enough money to be in this category, okay? But preferably, you're gonna end up having a job. It should be giving you benefits, and all this money that you've been putting into your savings account, you're gonna keep doing that, but now you're gonna have extra cash, more than you had before, obviously. And so now you're going to want to start putting aside money to be invested. And this is where we're going to be making our income streams, and multiple income streams and passive income streams come to life, okay? So with these income streams, the first one I would recommend you start is stocks, investing. Now, you can do this in multiple ways. You can do this whether with an individual brokerage, you can, and if you have that job with benefits, you're going to want to look into your 401ks, your IRAs, Roth IRAs, all that stuff. And depending on what your job gives you, maybe you go with that, maybe you open your own. That all depends on what your lifestyle is like at that point. But you definitely want to start a retirement account. You definitely want to have that just in case you need it in the future, and it's always going to be there. So, and the sooner you start, the better it is. So make sure you do that. Or you can do it. Now, when it comes to the individual brokerage account, you can do a variety of different ways of trading and investing. I personally think if you want to be financially stable and you don't want to have to risk that doing like day trades and stuff like that, I would highly encourage just taking the safe route, buying ETFs, index funds, all that good stuff. That is very long-term oriented, and the longer you hold on to it, the more likely you are to come out on top. And I highly encourage this, things like the S&P 500 as well. I highly encourage this because you barely have a chance of risking your money. And if you're doing this properly to begin with, you most likely, even if you are a slightly under where you started, it won't matter in the long run because you'll have things like your retirement account and stuff like that. And so this individual brokerage account is mainly a wealth builder and a passive income maker as well. And that's how I personally would go about it. Obviously, I'm not anywhere near this tier, so when I am at this tier, I might think a lot differently, which I expect to. But other things you can do in this tier is you're making new income streams. You can start doing things like businesses. You can start putting money aside for businesses. Now, don't get this wrong. This is not money that would be in your savings. You still have your savings on the side for like houses, stuff that's important that you need to buy in the future. But you would put like other separate money aside. Maybe this one goes in your Chase savings account, who knows, that you would use for investing purposes like businesses. All right. With all that being said, I did kind of slightly rush this video. So if you feel like some information was left out, which there might have been, feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'll answer them. I'll probably go more in depth on the tier list later down the line, and I'll do a full maybe 30-minute video on each tier list, the time span of it, all that good stuff. And so if you want to look forward to that, feel free to subscribe, like the video, and stay tuned for more stuff like that. Hit the notification bell. And I'll probably end up making a video of my plan and how it fits into this tier list, because this tier list is kind of how I'm basing my financial life and stability on. And so I'll go ahead and probably make a separate video for that as well, and how I'm looking at it from a time span and how I'm creating my goals according to this tier list, and how you can probably set yourself up to do that as well. And so also, if you want to see that video, make sure you subscribe, because that's all this information that I'm going to be putting out there. But anyways, with all that being said, that is the end of this video. Subscribe, like the video, share it, and leave any suggestions or comments. I plan to be doing this every single week, so be sure to stay tuned. And I'm about to head off to work, which is also why this video is a little bit rushed. But anyway, I'll see you all later. Peace out.